Are you ready for deeper meaning and bigger dreams in your life? Do you believe it can happen? Amy and LoriAnn are here to clear the confusion and help you live life full out, guided by your inner wisdom to create, amplify, and align you with your highest self. Are you ready to attract a divinely blessed life? This is Living in the Faith Frequency.
Welcome to Amy and LoriAnn at Living in the Faith Frequency, and we are getting our heavenly sexiness on. So today we have got a little bit to talk about because it has been a year, Amy. It has been a whole year since John has passed and transitioned, and so many things has happened in your life. And we've talked a little bit about it because we've said, this year mark was coming up. So we have talked about it a little bit, but really, let us know, tell us a little bit about how you're feeling and how you've kind of navigated these last couple of weeks in knowing that it's been a whole year and all of the new things that are showing up for you.
Yeah, it's been quite amazing because I also just got back from my month-long trip to Europe, and I just felt like I was giving myself space. You have to know where you're at, where your energy's at. And I was like, if I can get past my trip and then the 1 year mark, I felt like was going to be a turning point because I've really given myself time to decompress. And it's interesting, as I gave myself time to decompress, I look back at my year and I have traveled to Europe twice, got a book published, got John's book published, taking multiple trips, spent time with family and friends, a new relationship. Like, there has been so much that has happened. Um, and it's felt really good to take the pressure off of myself. And so this last week leading up to the 1 year anniversary, ironic enough, someone from my high school reached out to me the day before the 1 year anniversary, talking about how her husband has cancer for the second time and wanted to know if she could ask me a question. And so it gave me time to really dive in and reflect on what I went through, what we went through, how did I do it? Because
Mhm.
I've done really well. I've been able to continue to live, which is exactly what John would want for me,
Yeah,
and to keep moving forward in life, yet take all of the good things that we experienced in our 17 years together and let it be a part of my life now.
right.
And so that reflection time brought a lot of emotions for me, that I was a little surprised. But, when you pause and you slow down and you reflect, it's so good to feel all of your emotions. And I think that's what this last week has been for me, is a time of reflection and feeling everything. Um, and even, putting a post out there and sharing it with other, my people that are on my social media. Like, it brought a lot of emotions
Hmm.
up for me. And at the same time, it's been great, and it's also made me want to dial in even more in my life and do more.
So I know that you said that you wanted to have more productivity. Like that has really been something. And as we've talked and been kind of looking back at things, you have accomplished so much, but then sometimes you're like, wait a minute, I'm not productive. Like, I haven't gotten these things done. I haven't done this. I haven't. And we get so hard on ourselves about the things that we haven't done. And yet, I was listening to a law the other day, and it was like, make a list of all the things that you've accomplished. Like, really make a list of all these things you've accomplished so that you can celebrate, like, really celebrating those things that you've done. And you're really good at that. I know that you do those things and that's what you teach. Um, Sometimes, when we're reflecting and we're going back and we are in that, like you said, just really slowing down, our mind still wants to like create this story of, you're not good enough. Am I enough? Have I done everything? What do I need to do today? And our mind really gets going on that.
Mhm.
And so, what do you do to help with that?
Yes, it really does. And I think I'm going back to my what I call my awe exercise, AWE. And when we take time to pause and reflect, we can appreciate what's going well in our life. And so the A stands for appreciations and just being thankful. I was talking to my mom. We talked for like an hour and a half last night, and she was telling me how proud of me that she is, and and she doesn't always say those things, but and just how strong I was. And I said, I have so much to appreciate because I had such amazing friends and family standing beside me, and I wasn't going through this alone. And I think that was an important piece. So just taking time to appreciate yourself and the people around you, and acknowledge that we're not doing this life alone. There are wonderful people. Um, the world is just full of kind people, is what I have found. And then the W is wins, and so it's taking time to look at what what have you gotten accomplished, what is going well. And when we take time for that, it builds our confidence, it builds our trust. And I think trust is a huge piece in anything we do in life, is learning to trust ourselves that we can get through whatever life is bringing us,
Yeah,
and then learning to trust that we'll speak up for ourselves or ask for what we want, and that other people will show up and we can together become stronger and better. So those things I think build. And then E in my awe exercise is empowering questions. And so you're focused on the future of what it is that you are wanting, like it's already done. And it's like, why was it so easy to and fun to put on this amazing retreat for women to help them feel alive and in their heavenly sexiness? And so as you start focusing on what you want versus what you don't want, you get excited, because you've already built your confidence, and you're like, the momentum of like, now what, now
yeah,
what are we ready to let in? Because really, if we take time to look at our life, we have such a blessed life. All of us do.
right.
There are blessings, and it's a matter of looking for it. So those are the things that bring me back into my energy, because there are times where we get tired, and it's just checking in with ourselves and knowing what do we need right now, today, because today is all we have.
Right. That's As you were saying all of that, I'm like reflecting on just what happened to Ray and I this last week with, him having an episode on the airplane, and I didn't know if he was going to live, and just the instincts that started, popping in. But what was amazing was the people, and that trusting humanity, because one girl looked at me, and just like what you just said, this girl looked at me and she said, I want you to know you're not alone, and we're here to help.
Mm.
And just her saying that was enough to get me through like all of the things that I needed to do, to get us out of a foreign country, out of that medical emergency situation, and get us back to the United States. And to be able to do that, that just kept going around and around and around. And her big eyes with these crocodile tears in them. And I was experiencing this with another human being, not just somebody that was doing their job, but another human being that really cared about me and really cared to show up for me in that moment. And when she just like put her hand down and, put it by my hand, and she just said, I want you to know you're not alone and we're here to help.
Mm.
And I just think that message coming from anybody, and that really is the core message that we're here sharing today and every day that we show up, is you're not alone. And Amy and I are here. We're here because we've experienced these things in our life, and now we're willing to share them with you. And sometimes that's really digging deep and being very uncomfortable and very authentic and raw and real, that we're sharing these things. But that's what we're here for, because if she wouldn't have said that to me, I don't know if I would have been able to really hold it together and get the things accomplished that I needed to get accomplished. I don't, I would have somehow gotten through it, but I got through it so much easier with just that sweetness in her eyes and her being so sincere. So in your awe message, that really, I just lived through every stage of that AWE
Mm.
in getting through that whole experience. And so even calling you and saying, okay, my husband just like passed to the other side, but we were able to bring him back. And you were just like, it's been exactly a year with John passing, and how much we were able to help each other through that.
Yes, yes. And I love that you were willing to share the experience, because you had just texted me and told me a little bit about it, and then I reached out and said, "How are you? How is Ray?" And then you were willing to call and share the whole story with me. And to be able to sit with one another, which is what we've done in these podcasts. And you had even said, I want to get you when you're raw and real going through all this stuff. And we've taken the time to look at the journey and what you just went through with your husband. We don't know what tomorrow holds, and so to be able to sit with one another through the good times, the hard times, all the times, and to allow everyone to have their emotions and their experience, but to support one another and witness, but yet guide you back to, you're okay and you're
Right.
not alone, you know? And I think that's such a wonderful message. Sometimes we don't know what to say. My boyfriend, the day of John's 1 year passing, he sent me roses and said,
Oh,
I hope this brightens your day. And then he came over and he says, I've never gone through anything like this, so I don't know exactly what to do. And I just said, your presence and your listening and wanting just to hear how my day has been is perfect. And I think
yeah.
having presence with one another and learning to listen and not try to fix, no one's broken. We're just going through the things, we're going through life. And I think that's what having faith is knowing that you're not going through it alone, that you
Yeah.
are going to be okay, and help is always on the way.
Yes.
And when and whether it's we're going through a hard time or whether we're wanting to build something great or something small, doesn't matter where it's just we're all at different phases in our life, and it's like, how do we make peace with where we are and know that we're going to get through whatever it is or create whatever we want. Like learning it, just like driving, there's a time for the gas pedal, there's a time for the brake, and only you know where you're at in your life and what you need.
Yeah.
And so as we go through this together, we help each other to maneuver all of the emotions and the thoughts and the experiences that life has to bring. And I think that's what being alive is. I think it's about what
Yep.
heavenly sexiness is. It's being tuned in and turned on to your life today,
Yeah.
whatever it is that you have going on.
And
And
that's all we have is today.
that,
We say that so much,
yeah,
but we've been there. We know we only have today, especially with those that we love so much. So
yes. Yeah.
thanks. Thanks for for sharing so much today.
Well, thank you for journeying with me. We have been there for one another
Yeah.
through all the stuff, and I think that's such a beautiful thing. And we, as we know, we're not alone, and that we can get through whatever it is, and we can also create the life
Yes.
that, no matter what happens in life, we can still experience peace. We can still experience joy. We
Mhm.
life life does not end. Even when we leave these physical bodies, it does not end.
Yeah.
And just looking at it from a bigger perspective helps us to get through each day, one day at a time. So
So
thanks for joining us and keeping the faith and continuing to live in your heavenly sexiness. Until
bye.
next time. Thanks for tuning in to Living in the Faith Frequency. Keep shining, keep aligning, and keep trusting your inner guidance as you live your life full out. We are here to guide you as you step confidently into your faith journey. Be sure to subscribe and stay connected. Check out the show notes and let us know what topics would you like to hear next. On behalf of Amy and LoriAnn, we want you to keep talking, keep dreaming, and keep feeling blessed.